And they're off.
Live coverage of the 2025 Mountain Marathon race is brought to you by Hillcorp, Alaska. Hillcorp is proud to support Mountain Marathon and mountain runners from across our great state.
There she is giving out high fives.
Additional support provided by KTUU, KYES, and the Seward Chamber of Commerce. Other sponsors include the Alaska Pollock Fishery Alliance, the Alaska Railroad, the Alaska Miners Association, Royal Caribbean, and GCI.
Mountain Marathon champion.
And now, live from Seward, Alaska, here are Holly Brooks and Andrew Kastnick.
Great run. Nice job.
Welcome, sports fans, to the 97th running of Mountain Marathon. This race is going to be epic. Glad you could join us on America's birthday. We're just about 5 minutes away from the men's race. I'm Andrew Kastnick, and joining me is two-time Mountain Marathon champion and Olympic skier Holly Brooks. We're standing on 4th Avenue of Seward, Alaska. Population 2,500, but today the air crackles with the energy of 1,000 times that many. They've come from all corners of the globe, drawn by a siren song for pain and a chance at glory. They've come for Mountain Marathon. Born from a bar bet and fueled by Alaskan grit and stubborn determination, this isn't just a race, it's a reckoning. A grueling, unrelenting climb straight to the heavens, followed by a descent that dares you to survive. It's 5 kilometers. 5 kilometers that could break you, or 5 kilometers that could make you a legend.
The question on everyone's mind, can David Norris go 6 for 6? In 5 attempts, he's come back with 5 wins, including last year where he broke his own record. The current record on Mount Marathon, 40 minutes, 37 seconds. The other question is, could he break that 40-minute barrier? Time will tell, and there's plenty of competition willing to make him work for it. So let's race. It's going to be a great day.
And we are back with the aerial view of the men's start. Set to go in just a few minutes. We are waiting with bated breath for this race to occur. Straight up to the heavens, straight down into town, Seward, Alaska, on the north end of Resurrection Bay in the North Pacific. Here's a look at men's Wave 1. And they are lining up shirtless, and it is hot out. Holly Brooks joining me, two-time Mountain Marathon champion and Olympic skier. Holly, who do you liken in this race to give David Norris, who's going for 6 wins, a challenge today?
Oh, it's gonna be hard to unseat David. There he is in the yellow shorts wearing bib number 1. A lot of these men choosing to go shirtless. There we have 44-year-old Max King, last year's runner-up in black spandex, like so many of the other men. His son got to race this morning. That might have been his rookie run. What a fun thing to do, come here as a family. The conditions are perfect. It's 55 degrees, good visibility. We are going to have a great race.
I can see Trayson Knopp on the line. I can see Jesse McCauley, who was 3rd place last year out of Squamish, BC. He brought a contingent up with him, including Callie McChrystal, who took 3rd earlier in the women's race. If you missed that, that was won by Claire Rhodes. We can see the men now ready with their watches, ready to time. See if this can be another record-setting performance from David Norris. And they are off. The 97th running of Mountain Marathon is underway.
David Norris looking pretty relaxed off the start. You know, that record pace is in the back of his mind, and he talked about spending a lot of time on the treadmill this winter when he would have otherwise been Nordic skiing. And so he definitely knew that a place where he could pick up a couple seconds was on the road. That's the road from the start to the cliffs, and then the road from the cliffs to the finish.
And we saw him last year giving out high fives and smiling all the way down 4th Avenue and Jefferson Avenue into town. We'll see if he has the time or wherewithal to do that. If he's going for under 40 minutes, it is going to take an absolutely perfect run up this jagged and cliffy mountain. Nothing easy going for that man, but we already see somebody charging off the front. And I don't believe that is David Norris. I see David sitting about 3rd there, leading a spearhead of a chase group. And somebody has set a blistering pace off the gun line.
People are aiming for this. Winning and doing well at Mount Marathon is a big deal. We have the top 18 from last year's race returning. And last year, the top 5 competitors were all under 45 minutes, which is just astonishing. Just a couple years ago, those times would have won the race.
Incredible, Holly. Yeah, super fast race yesterday. I talked to Trayson Knopp. His personal best in placing was 7th. That was a few years ago. He got 11th last year, but ran his personal best time. This field is stacked. Maybe it's the David Norris effect. Maybe it's the conditions, but the race course is fast. David Norris sets the bar, and the rest are left to try and chase him down.
In the field, we have last year's runner-up, Max King, 44 years old, from Bend. We also have Jesse McGauley from Squamish, BC, back for more. Last year, he was 3rd. And then we have brothers Ali Papillon and Bodie Gross, formerly of Alaska, but now currently live in Manitou Springs, Colorado. They were 4th and 5th, respectively. Last year, 6th place, Jarrett Gillingham. 7th place, APU skier Michael Earnhardt. And then we also have Lars Arneson, a new dad, Lion Kopsak, who smoked the downhill last year in a time of 10 minutes and 42 seconds. So here we are. We got the men's lead pack coming up to the decision point. Will they take the routes? Will they take the cliff? There is no set route on Mount Marathon, which is part of the allure.
And I think I could see Ali Papillon there in one of the chase groups. One thing that sticks out to me, aside from Max King 45 and David Norris 34, is the age of this group. This is Ali Papillon, just 20 years of age. Bodie Gross, 24. Jarrett Gillingham's 23. Michael Earnhardt's only 22. We also have Luke Jager back on the line after an absence. He's a former junior Mount Marathon winner. He is a U.S. ski team member, and he is also at that 25-year age. There in the subset of your screen is wave 2. There's 3 waves starting today. This is the second of 3. And on the main part of your screen, you can see wave 1 about to reach the base of the mountain. So what's waiting for them as they enter this vegetation, Holly?
Well, this is the decision point. The ones on the right of your screen are going up the routes. They get a chance to use their arms and climb the routes like a ladder. The ones to the left are going up the cliffs, the same cliff that many will descend. Here you are, you see David Norris in 2nd place in those light yellow shorts, 2nd place going up the cliffs. We have yet to figure out who let us out with that hot pace. I have a reason to believe that David Norris will be overtaking that racer, and there we go. That just happened.
Yeah, and it's an interesting dynamic to this race because the vegetation gets thick and the routes divide and come back together, and you don't always know where you are within the field. You kind of just have to keep the hammer down, keep your eyes up, head on a swivel. And for the rest of the men trying to chase down David Norris, well, they got to be like a woodpecker in a petrified forest. Just keep poking around and looking for opportunities because they got one today, but David Norris owns this race. He's going for 6 wins. If he can do that, he would join the likes of Brad Pekoski, Sven Johansson, and Ralph Hatch. Only one man has won it more than 6, and that's Bill Spencer. He's won it 8 times. So that record is safe for today. But David Norris has a chance to join Brad Pekoski, Sven Johansson, and Ralph Hatch as some of the legends of Mount Marathon.
David has everything going for him. The uphill is in some of the best shape ever. I mentioned earlier on the women's broadcast that someone has gone up with a weed whacker and made it nice and wide. That's good for visibility. It's also good for getting some airflow into the uphill. It's also possible to see your competition. It used to be one of my moves to put on a little bit of heat and try to get around a corner and hide in the bushes.
Yeah, and we've had a little bit of a dry spring, which can be good for the uphill. It gets away some of that greasy mud. You get the shale rock exposed, and you get good traction on the up. However, that will change things for the down, and we've heard multiple sources, including Holly, who was up on the course yesterday, describing the shale as a little bit harder than usual. You don't have the cushion. The moisture is not there to kind of bind it up and make those footrests have a little bit of cushion as they descend. That bedrock is exposed, it is gnarly, and the downhill may be a little bit slower than it has been in other years. They're going to have to make up their time on the ascent.
There's a nice...
And we're going to go to break. We will be right back with the 97th running of Mount Marathon. And thanks for joining us on the live stream from MountMarathon.com, presented by Hillcorp, Alaska. There is a gorgeous shot of this tiny seaside community nestled at the head of Resurrection Bay. We are from a drone right now traveling down Jefferson Avenue. You can see that right-hand corner to Main Street as this third wave of racers takes their way towards the base of Mount Marathon.
We were just talking about the conditions of the course today. You can see in the upper right-hand part of your screen, it is 62 degrees, clear sky. We should have some great aerial footage from drones and our team on the mountain who has been setting up 4 days to bring you these amazing visuals. The course is in some of the best shape it has ever been. The uphill is fast. There are lots of footholds, and the erosion on the course has created more of a ladder-like effect for the uphill. So we'll see what David Norris has in his legs. The top, for the first time in many years, there is a snow patch. This could be really a decisive factor in the race. Some people are very comfortable on snow, others not so much, and I have every reason to believe that David Norris would welcome the snow and a chance to glissade.
Yeah, that man can send it on the downhill for sure. This mountain sees a lot of foot traffic, as you alluded to, a lot of erosion at play, a lot of external factors, including the snowpack. We saw some avalanches careen down the gut over the course of the spring that pushed rocks down that cliffy section, making some of those features a little bit more manageable. It also made glide cracks on the upper mountain, which left berms of shale that were knee-high in spots. I guess they have been worked through a little bit on the trail, but it's always a factor of what the winter does and how the mountain responds to the elements leading up to race day.
If you're just joining us, welcome to the 2025
And welcome back to the live stream presented by Hillcorp, Alaska. The 97th running of Mount Marathon is underway, and that is a look up Jefferson Avenue towards the base of this beast. There is Wave 3 on their way up the mountain, and we will be looking at times populating in the live timing. We'll be, of course, tracking David Norris's pursuit of the record that he owns, 40 minutes, 37 seconds. This race was started at a bar bet with somebody speculating they could run up and down it in under an hour. It's insane to think that David Norris has ratcheted that time down to very close to 40 minutes. It would be an absolute perfect run for him to break that time barrier, and we are here for it.
The first men's Mount Marathon race was in 1915, won by James Walters in a time of 1 hour, 2 minutes, and 2 seconds. Then the race occurred year after year, and in 1981, Bill Spencer set a record of 43 minutes and 21 seconds, and that record stood for 32 years before it was broken in 2013 by Eric Strabel. Then it was broken again in 2015 by the renowned, iconic mountain runner Kilian Jornet, and then right after, the year after Kilian broke the record, it was broken by David Norris in 2016. Then it took him a couple more years, and David broke his own record last year, and the record is as it stands, 40 minutes, 37 seconds. Now we're getting our first view of David Norris in the lead.
Yeah, and he looked over his shoulder a little bit, but it looks like he's got a gap building already. He's switching between running, pushing off the legs, and hiking. There it is into the run. He is moving very well. He's got a little bit of break out of the vegetation. I can tell you from experience, it is extremely hot. There is not much breeze in this vegetation. It's humid and muggy, and even when it's 62 degrees in Alaska, that is cooking for this part of the world.
There you go. You can see the sweat glistening off of someone's back as they ascend, heading towards Junior Point. There David is running again. Spectators are cheering him on, saying, let's go, David. Pick it up. We're about 11 minutes into this race. Last year, his record mid-mountain time was 16 minutes and 7 seconds. So in just approximately 5 minutes from now, we'll get an idea of what kind of pace David is actually on.
Yeah, and he ran the 4th fastest downhill time last year, so he has a little bit of room perhaps to try and make it up there. We alluded earlier that he's looking for seconds on the street, but really the bulk of this race comes on the uphill, so he's got to hit every mark, every step, no slipping, every push perfect. He's going to have to put a perfect run together to try and break that record. He is going for his 6th victory. He has never lost this race.
That's a pretty epic record to have. And like you said, if he wins today, he will join the likes of 3 iconic men who have won 6 times. But he has a couple more years before he matches or even surpasses Bill Spencer's record of 8 victories.
And Bill Spencer, should be noted, still holds the junior record. So if you want to talk about this mountain making legends, well, let's say no more than Bill Spencer. Here's a great drone shot as you try to find the runners. There's David Norris at the bottom of your screen working his way up. Eventually this vegetation is going to break away. It will be above about 1,000 feet at that point. That's tree line in Alaska. And then it is on to cliff bands, more broken shale as they seek the top of the mountain. At the top of the mountain, they're going to round the Stars and Stripes before descending back to this seaside community.
Here we're getting that great view of the head of Resurrection Bay. There's a cruise ship right there. There's a lot of action here in Seward, Alaska come summertime.
Yeah, I can tell you there was quite an event yesterday. Holly's husband and I won the salmon toss. I was supposed to put that out on air, that Rob Whitney and I took down the crowd, being able to throw a salmon and catch it across the entire width of 4th Avenue. So lots to do here in Seward, Alaska. If you're not into running the mountain, there's all kinds of food trucks. We got a Jumbotron showing the race. There's plenty of things to do outside the city for fishing and hiking and exploring this beautiful state.
Yesterday, a highlight was also the grease pole, which required teams of 3 to climb a pole covered in Crisco. And they had to stand on each other's shoulders and try to grab an envelope full of money. There was no lack of laughing and original tactics that teams took on. It was a great time.
Speaking of monetary prizes, is there a monetary prize for Mount Marathon? What are these athletes racing for?
There is no money on the line.
Amazing.
It's just pride. You know, if you win, you get what's known as the Mount Marathon Chalice, which is really just a plastic trophy. But there's a lot of pride involved. There we saw a spectator giving David Norris a water bottle. He took a sip, dumped some on his back, and he is back into that running gait, trying to put some time on his competitors, trying to put in time to his last year self.
Yeah, I think that was the newlyweds, Andre Lovett and Sarah Freistone, that gave David Norris the hand up. Congratulations to the newlywed couple, helping David Norris on his way to the top of this mountain. So there you can see again, switching between running and a little bit of hiking, pushing off the legs. It's a bit like 4-wheel drive. You're trying to grasp vegetation, roots, whatever may be available for the hands. Give the legs a break by pushing off the knees. Otherwise, when you find a little moment and you can run it, as you've said in other broadcasts, it's good to switch back and forth between techniques and kind of give certain muscle groups a little bit of a rest.
David Norris, originally from Fairbanks, Alaska, went to high school there and then spent many years in Anchorage pursuing elite level cross-country skiing. David currently lives in Steamboat Springs, Colorado, but Alaska, well, I think we're going to claim him as our own.
Yeah, we can't lose David Norris. He's been in Steamboat for a little while now, but even without a monetary prize, he would not miss this race. He comes back every single year to try and keep his victory streak going. Now, I think we're looking at second place there. He may have eyes on David Norris through this vegetation now again. We're not exactly sure who this is yet, but they're about to reach the mid-mountain up, and hopefully we'll get some live timing updates to bring you the name of who is in second place right now.
There is a chance that that may be APU skier Luke Jagger. I did notice he was wearing a black t-shirt, which is quite bold, at the beginning of the race. Time will tell. He won a bib by winning this year's Bird Ridge race. It's an uphill only race right outside of Anchorage. Very competitive, and he ran a sub 40-minute time. So definitely showing some uphill prowess and fitness. It's been a couple years since he's taken on Mount Marathon, but he is back for more.
Yeah, and he's won the junior boys, as I mentioned, at least once, but now I can see 3 times between 2015 and 2017. He's also a Winter Olympian like yourself, racing for Team USA in 2022. So good to have Luke Jagger back in a race bib here at Mount Marathon.
We go David Norris just coming out of the bushes there. We have a couple more seconds until we're going to get that split. It looks like he is actually behind his own pace. Last year, he came across, see that little pipe, that's the junior turnaround. Last year, he came across this in 16:07. This year, a bit off his own mark. He just looked at his own watch, so he knows that, and we'll see what he decides to do. A little slip there on the shale. You know, when you're wearing a watch and you see that you're behind, it can be a bit of a bummer, but we'll see if he decides to enter the pain cave a little bit more or if he decides to play more of a tactical race.
Yeah, and certainly may not be on the record-setting run we had hoped for. However, going for a 6th win is certainly a huge feat and nothing to shy away from. So we're looking at Max King now. There is Max King making his way up, and it does look like Luke Jagger did clock through on the graphic there in 2nd place. So we may be looking at a David, Luke, Max situation here in the early going for the podium.
There's David getting a hand up, a little bit more water. Here we are. Yeah, here we are, but I believe that is new dad Lars Arneson.
That is correct. That is Lars Arneson.
Wearing the blue shorts, number 9. He was 9th last year, so right now he is in better position, maybe powered by that dad strength.
Yeah, you know, sometimes you got to have a little extra weight, put the kid in a backpack to go up these mountains, you know? Resistance training. David Norris doesn't have that. But there he goes. You could see sweat glistening there, working super hard to get up this hill. Still able to find a little bit of a running stride. I have a feeling that the heat is playing a factor at this point. Last year when he did set his record, we had nice overcast skies. It was much cooler. The men raced in the morning time, and so that can also help. The temperature is certainly a factor. As you know, Holly, when it gets hot, bad things can happen on this hillside.
It's easy to think that this race for, you know, at least the elite competitors is less than an hour. So sometimes you would think the strain on the body isn't that much. However, when you are going straight uphill and you are redlining it, the stress on the body is immense. 2009, we had a very, very hot year, and both myself and my fellow former APU ski team member Brent Knight ended up in the emergency room with exertional rhabdomyolysis. And so it's not nearly as hot as it was in 2009. Some racers decided to actually jump in Resurrection Bay right before their race to lower their body temperature. We're not seeing that kind of heat today, but the stress is definitely taking a toll. And as you mentioned, racing in the afternoon, a little bit warmer than the morning.
We're going to take a quick break. Thanks for joining us on the live stream by Hillcorp, Alaska. We'll be right back after a message. And if you're joining us on the live stream from mountainmarathon.com, thanks for sticking with us here. We have a live look at David Norris approaching the upper third of the mountain. We have some mid-mountain time checks for you. David Norris in the lead with 17:05. He's about a minute off his record-setting pace, but still in the lead. He has got a 25-second gap on Luke Jaeger of Anchorage, Alaska. Max King is 52 seconds back, holding third. And then just 25 seconds behind Max is Lars Arneson from Anchorage, Alaska. Right behind him, Bodie Gross, Jarrett Gillingham, and Jesse McCauley. We'll be keeping an eye on Jesse McCauley. He is a very fast descender. It's his third race. He raced last year to get third. He's super fast downhiller. He's a ski mountaineer, so he knows how to send it in these downhills. He could make up a few places on the descent.
Right now we're seeing some fabulous footage of David Norris, compliments of our drone. This just goes to show you what kind of course you can expect if you decide to toe the line for Mount Marathon. It's technical, it's rocky. If you don't put your foot in the right place, you'll slip backwards. Some of these steeper pitches require or inspire you to use your hands as well. David Norris making it look easy here, but I will tell you it is not.
I would be absolutely dying crawling up this mountain, not even able to function. But yes, like you said, David Norris just cruising up this, keeping the pace steady, pushing off his knees and making his way. The only way he knows how.
David Norris most likely extending his lead on Luke Jaeger in second place, and then 44-year-old Max King.
Welcome back to our KTUU listeners and watchers for the 2025 Mount Marathon. It's the 97th running, and this is the live stream presented by Hillcorp, Alaska. We have David Norris in the lead. He is reaching the upper third of the mountain, but don't count out Luke Jaeger, Max King, and Lars Arneson in hot pursuit. Now we're starting to see the bulk of the middle of the pack working their way up this giant behemoth of a mountain, 3,022 feet to make it to the top. They are going to round the stars and stripes before descending at breakneck pace to the bottom. The downhill record under 10 minutes. Can you imagine running down 3,000 feet through the city streets of Seward in under 10 minutes? I don't think you could roll a bowling ball that fast, even accounting for the angles of the slope and getting it all the way there in under 10 minutes. It's just ridiculous what these athletes can do when they put themselves against this mountain.
Taylor Turney put in that time of 9 minutes, 54 seconds 2 years ago in 2023. And I think it's important to note that that was a very wet year. There was a lot of rainfall, and that precipitation actually makes the rocks and the scree nice and soft. The rocks get a little bit bouncy, if you can even believe that. This year, it's been a lot drier, and so the downhill is hard in comparison. It could definitely lead to some crashes. It's not as forgiving when you are doing your controlled free fall. And look at this beautiful picture of the mountain. This is Alaska at its best.
Yeah, we're looking north right now. There is the Resurrection River coming around the mountain, coming out of Exit Glacier and the national parks. We are in the Kenai Fjords National Park, just a beautiful part of the state down on the Kenai Peninsula. Seward, Alaska is not to be missed. It should be on everybody's bucket list for a travel destination. And there is David Norris. He's going to have a couple false summits, some cliff bands to work his way through. You kind of think you're near the top. He, of course, knows that he's not, being a veteran and a 5-time winner. Yeah, you can kind of fool yourself to thinking you're close, but the mountain grinds on, and it takes a while to get all the way up to 3,022 feet.
This vantage point actually shows us the gaps between David and his nearest competitors. We believe them to be Luke Jaeger of Anchorage and Max King of Bend, Oregon. he has a pretty healthy lead, and at this point it feels like something almost disastrous would have to happen to David Norris for him to not bring home the win. But again, it's racing. Anything could happen. David is about 4.5 minutes from his uphill PR. That was that record pace from last year. At Mid-Mountain, he was about a minute behind his own pace. Some of that could be fitness, but a lot of that is just race conditions. It's the air temperature, the ambient temperature, it's the conditions of the mountain. David has told us that he has been doing more specific running training, and he did qualify for Trail World Championships in Spain come September.
Yeah, he kind of came out of the nowhere to a certain crowd of mountain runners. He won the national championships in Mount Sunapee, New Hampshire, just about a month ago, punching his ticket to the Pyrenees to race in the World Championships. So he's certainly making himself more and more known on the running scene. He's a legend in this race already, but he's about to be internationally known as a mountain runner. And he came out and just stomped the competition, winning the U.S. Nationals in New Hampshire to punch his ticket to Europe. And there is a great shot, as you said, looking down the mountain at the town of Seward, still breaking in and out of running. But that is believed to be Luke Jaeger in hot pursuit. Luke's probably got the Winter Olympics on his mind coming up, as Kendall Kramer did. It'll be interesting to see what kind of aggression he employs to the descent, because Luke is certainly trying to keep his body intact for a run at the upcoming Milano Cortina Games this winter.
There now we see Max King in hot pursuit of Luke Jaeger, almost twice his age. Max has been a perennial favorite here at Mount Marathon. He has won once before in 2022, but this last year he actually had surgery on his meniscus, and so you have to wonder what is he willing to do on the downhill. Last year, his downhill rank was 9th. He came down the mountain in 11 minutes and 21 seconds. I'm not sure we know what kind of downhill Luke Jaeger has in his body or his mind, but he is a skier. And so, you know, that makes me think that he is going to be nice and comfortable on the snow, as is David. It's been a couple years since we've had a snow patch up here. There can be a big trough where racers may opt to do a sitting glissade, where it's like a big snow slide. There are some rocks in that slide, and so if you're not careful, you are going to get a big cut on your behind. Others may opt for a standing glissade, and others, you know, who knows? Maybe they'll roll down the mountain. We'll see. We'll see what David does.
Yeah, we saw a lot of women coming off this mountain with muddy backsides, even though it is dry. I think they were doing the butt slide through the snow patch and grinding it up on a little bit of mud coming out. So that's always a little scary, leaving that snow patch. David Norris, not one of the fastest downhillers, but certainly no slouch getting down this mountain. He had blazing fast time last year, top 10 descender. I imagine he's trying to put as much gap as he can on second place so that the downhill becomes a little bit less stressful, and he can maintain his headspace, his calm demeanor, and take the win here again in Seward.
At the mid-mountain checkpoint, he was about a minute off of his own record time. I am sure he knows that. We'll get another split coming up here. You know, no competitors are in sight, and he knows that he's off his base. So we'll see what he decides to risk and what he decides to do. He might just cruise it on in, make it look easy. Last year, when he set that record pace, he was giving out high fives down Main Street. We'll see what happens this year.
Yeah, always a question of just exactly how much effort to put in and where for these athletes. You want to time your efforts well. He has put a lot of work into this uphill to get this gap, and he is right now in comfortable position at the front, and getting very close now, as we can see the drone making the ascent, giving you a good idea of just how fast David Norris is scaling up this peak. He is working his way to the top, and we'll start to see the summit here in just a little bit. That's a great view looking down, and you can see the field is strung out below them. I don't even really see even two runners really working together at this point. It seems kind of like every man for themselves as they make their way up.
David Norris has now surpassed his record uphill time of 29:47. To ascend 3,000 feet in less than 30 minutes is just incredible. So again, he's a little bit behind his own pace, but well on his way to potentially his 6th victory. David Norris going 6 for 6, making it look easy, giving a little bit of a nod to say, or to look and wonder, how much further, how much longer do I have until I can round that flag and give my legs a rest?
Yeah, and we said it earlier, he loves coming back every year. He wants to be here now. He's won it every single time. He's got family in the state. It's a great opportunity to come up, kick some butt, see some parents and some cousins, some siblings, and then make his return back to Steamboat Springs, Colorado, where he has his own private coaching business. So if you're interested in getting some of David Norris's inside tips on how he does this, you can hit him up for some coaching. So there's the top there, I believe. This gentleman standing there, right at the top. There's a great shot right there from our drone. So you can see the American flag waving there. He's going to round that rock and flag, and then it will be all downhill back to town.
David Norris, a minute and change. He actually lost a bit more time on the second half of the uphill. We'll get an official split right here, but again, no one in sight. There he is, just taking a couple nice relaxed steps. I always felt like this part you were kind of diving off of a cliff, really, because you are. Right here he is descending down the rock, and let's see what he decides to do in the snow.
Official clock time 36:23 to the uphill, and here's a beautiful shot of him coming down. He's left the butt sliding luge run that goes straight down and is elected to do his own foot sliding. Look at him go,
wow.
Barely in control, but also in control. He is sending it right now. Gotta love that cool snow on the hot legs as he makes his way down the top.
Now this is the dangerous part, the transition from snow to rock. You're coming in pretty hot. It looks like he controlled his speed, and no crashes, no wipeouts for David Norris.
He did it very well, yes. Yeah,
yep.
And the snow looked soft. It looked, you know, not hard pack or icy like you could if you needed to come to a stop. He did that beautifully. He lost 0 time, and he is on his way down the mountain now. It's a bit of a figure-8 course that they have on Mount Marathon. This is the descending trail. He's going to make his way. As soon as he starts to hit some of that green pasture below, he will begin to cut towards his right, and across the mountain he'll cross over the up track and down into what we call the gut.
It's a little hard to tell, you know, from the air, but it does look like the surface is pretty stiff. He didn't look as bouncy. His strides weren't as long as maybe they were last year. Here we have Luke Jagger, 2nd place, about to take that dive off the cliff, shaking out the arms a little bit, just getting ready mentally and physically. You know, he's in contention, and I know that Luke wants to hold that 2nd place. That would be an amazing result for him.
Absolutely. I saw him with some big exhales, trying to get the body to relax a little bit before it's tasked. It's a total different motion of muscles that he's got to contend with now. You're going from pushing off to trying to slow yourself down as we see these two men make their way, and Luke just goes into the butt slide, mostly out of control. Hopefully he can stop before the rocks catch him at the bottom.
As does Max King in hot pursuit. This is the race. This is the race. David Norris may be in the lead. He is on track to go 6 for 6, but that head-to-head racing is hard to beat.
Yeah, and a beautiful thing there to see Max King, 45 years old, trying to keep Luke Jagger, 25 years old, in his sights. You got to think a little bit of youth might be helpful for Luke at this point in the race. Just having a little bit fresher cartilage in those joints as he makes his way down the mountain.
Here we see David Norris about to cross the up trail. You know, this is a part where it's a little bit interesting for your legs because you've been going down, and then it's kind of flat on the crossover before you take that dive into the downhill scree again. Well, he looks right, he looks left, and he is able to get through the uphill traffic. You can see a brave camera person running after him right there, and we're going to get maybe a downhill split for David Norris.
And we got a top 5 now times coming through the uphill time check. In 5th, Lars Arneson. He is, looks like 12 seconds behind Jarrett Gillingham of Flagstaff, Arizona. Max King hanging on to 3rd, as we said. Luke Jaeger 2nd. So we have top 5 with times through the top of the mountain, and they are on their way down through the snow patch now. Bodie Gross, Jesse McCauley, and Ali Papillon, Baden Menton, Gunnison, Colorado. Got a shout out to theirs, my hometown area of Colorado. Good to see people from all over the United States coming to contend themselves and this field at Mount Marathon.
Right now we're looking at incredible footage of David Norris descending the scree. This is the bottom half of the mountain. And right now it's going to funnel down into what is known as the gut. The gut is a bit of an active waterfall. Here we have Luke Jaeger leading Max King here on the scree. In hot pursuit of David Norris is a bit of a gap, but these two are running hand in hand, or at least close to each other. Max is sucking up Luke's dust, that's for sure.
Yeah, we're seeing some supersonic spin drift scree piles and clouds coming off these athletes' feet as they make their way. Here's a beautiful shot of David Norris going down in the gut, and here is the race for 2nd. It is Luke Jaeger in all black. He's got Max King right on his tail. Separated by 20 years, but only 10 feet of distance in this race coming down the mountain. This is going to be a race for 2nd that we are going to be on the edges of our seat. Tip back those sudsy beers, hold your cup of coffee to the sky, and tip it to these athletes because they are giving it their all. And there's a pass. Max King going for the pass. And it looks like Luke's going to just let him have it right now, as they're getting some directions from some of the spectators to find their way down.
You can see they're running on hard pack. It does not look smooth. It looks really challenging, and I think that those racers are doing everything they can to stay upright on otherwise wobbly legs that are just full of lactic acid from the uphill.
Yeah, and I can imagine that Luke is starting to do some calculating here and just trying to stay right with Max King, looking to play to his strengths. You want to race to your strengths, and we might see another pass here as Luke found some speed. He's going right onto the heels. He's used to drafting on skis. It's a little different on foot, but we can see these two runners neck and neck heading towards the gut.
Part of it's a physical draft, but another part of it is mental. And so can he mentally glue himself to the back of Max King? It would be wonderful and very exciting for the spectators to see this race come down to the road. It's been a while since we've had an all-out sprint. And there we go, Luke for the pass again. These two are passing each other and passing each other back. This is very exciting. I also have my eyes on the race clock. We're 37 minutes into this race, and David Norris should be coming off of the cliff at any moment right now, waiting for that police car to let the spectators know that the race leader is coming through.
Yeah, and you mentioned Max King with a meniscus surgery, and you've got to start to wonder as we see Luke Jaeger pulling away a little bit on the downhill if something might be barking in his knee from that recent surgery. He's done a heck of a job hanging with this group so far. You just got to wonder with 45 years of age and a recent knee surgery what his legs are feeling right now as he makes his way down this insanely steep mountain. Some of these cliffs are upwards of 60 degrees. You do not want to fall, and they are going to have some tough navigation getting right off the base of the mountain. There's a couple options at the bottom. There's some switchbacks that may take a little longer, or you can scale some cliffs. Just like you have options on the beginning on the way up, they are going to be faced with some choices on the way down.
And now we see David Norris coming off of the mountain. There is Pride Rock. He's opting to go around it, but he is being welcomed right now by thousands of spectators and the police car that is going to signal to the spectators, hey, guys, the race leader is coming through.
And there's a beautiful shot. David Norris all alone, passing the public water supply for the city of Seward. He is on dirt roads at this point, and pretty soon he's going to be making his way to asphalt, a totally different surface than everything he's been on in the last 30 minutes or so. And he is on his way into the community of Seward.
The police car must be waiting for him at any given moment. We're 39 minutes into this race, so he is not going to break that 40-minute barrier. That barrier will stand, but I have no doubt in my mind it's going to be on his radar next year.
Simply remarkable, even if he did not get the record, to get 6 wins, undefeated. Insane, remarkable. I don't know how to describe it other than that David Norris is owning this race every time he enters.
Time will tell if he's going to be giving out high fives on 4th Avenue. We shall see. I'm excited already for his comments once he crosses the finish line. So here we see some spectators waiting in anticipation. If they are not watching the live feed, they're wondering who is it going to be. There is the police escort for David Norris, welcoming him back to the finish line and the Yukon bar. He looks nice and relaxed there. Someone put their hand out for a high five. He almost veered to his right, looking like he was going to go for it. But right now, I think he's digging for time a little bit.
Yeah, big loping stride, still looking relaxed, but pushing hard. You know, he's on his way. He wants nothing more than to get this 6th win. I want to back up to the top of the mountain. We have race rookie Kobe Marvin, who came in 10th to the top. He's right behind Bodie Gross, Jesse McCauley, and Ali Papillon. So a good race for Kobe Marvin in his rookie campaign. He has won the Junior Mount Marathon, as has Luke Jager. He is the son of 2nd place women's finisher Christy Marvin. So Marvin's having another fantastic day here at Mount Marathon. And here comes David Norris now, rounding the corner off Jefferson Ave and on to 4th, on his way to his 6th victory. Incredible feat. And he's got the roar of the crowd now to cheer him on his way. Smooth as could be, in control the whole time. He may have let somebody go off the front at the start of the race, but he quickly ate them up and was fastest everywhere else on the mountain. Nobody could touch him. David Norris, your 2025 97th running of Mount Marathon champion.
David Norris looks like he's going to do it 6 for 6, but the real question is what is happening in that race for 2nd and 3rd? Will the young Luke Jager take it, or will Max King and his experience prevail? There we were seeing Ali Papillon coming off of the cliffs. So we'll see who the next competitors are and who is going to round out our podium.
And you can see the crowds building there on 4th Avenue in Seward, Alaska. There's a few high fives. David Norris on his way to a victory here in Seward. Big smile, well earned. Congratulations, David Norris, on your 6th win.
David Norris crossing the finish line at 42 minutes and change. Definitely off his pace from 2024 and his time, his own record, or the race record, of 40 minutes and 37 seconds, but still a fantastic showing. And now we have 44-year-old Max King of Bend, Oregon. It looks like he was able to pass Luke again. So there was a battle, and excuse me, he's 45 now. So Max King looks to be our 2025 runner-up for Mount Marathon. The meniscus surgery, no problem. This wily veteran, you know, was able to really put on a good battle with Luke Jager. Those two went back and forth, and I'm curious to hear what they have to say about that. Max King getting a great round of applause as he makes his way towards the finish line at the Yukon bar. And there we see Luke Jager in hot pursuit, a little look over his shoulder. And here we have what I believe to be 4th place, Lars Arneson, one of the top mountain runners in Anchorage. I think also, as we mentioned, a new dad. Lots of spectators sticking their hands out, hoping to get a nice, dirty, sweaty high five. Max King with a little look behind his shoulder. That would be pretty silly to give up 2nd place for a high five, but he noticed he had a gap, and he will take all the high fives he can get. Max is an experienced Mount Marathon racer. He loves coming back to Alaska. He loves the hype, and I remember last year him saying that there's just nothing like it. The spectators, the crowd, the volunteers, not to mention the terrain. of Mount Marathon. So we're always happy to welcome 45-year-old Max King back. And here we have Luke Jagger, a little bit of pain on his face, but coming in to round out our podium. So David Norris, your 2025 champion, in an official time of 42:30. Second place, Max King, an official time of 44:23. And Luke Jagger in third place, an official time of 44:47. I'm going to now kick it over to Andrew, who has a finish line interview for us.
Yeah, I'm standing with the 6-time now winner, David Norris. Welcome back to Seward, Alaska. How did it go today for you?
Yeah, that was great. That was as fun as any of them so far. Yeah, conditions were good. I don't know, I'm kind of surprised we weren't all like near our PRs, but yeah, it felt good.
Yeah, it was the heat factor, and you were looking at your watch a little bit. You know, you had that kind of 40-minute barrier. You hold the record, and what was going through your mind as you went up the hill?
I was kind of like in the jungle stuff. I was pretty hot in there, and then once I got past the junior turnaround, it felt really good. And I felt like I ran a lot more than I have in the past, but the time I was slower to the top, so it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, now you're undefeated, so congratulations. Looked like somebody gave you a little run out the streets, but you took over the lead early, and from there, just smooth sailing. Anything that got in your way on the way up?
No, the guy was super strong early on, but then, yeah, in the top, I maybe went too far right at one point. It was kind of in some steep loose stuff, but I kind of just try not to worry about those little like 5-second decisions, so it all worked out. Oh, there he is.
Well, only 3 other men have won it 6 times, and now you're one of them, so congratulations. You got to come back 2 more times, win it 2 more times to tie Bill Spencer. We hope to see you again in the future, but again, congratulations, David Norris, your 2025 Mount Marathon champion.
Great, thank you.
There we see Ali Papelon putting on a burst of speed, trying to pass someone at the last minute. That was a great interview with David Norris, talking about how he was a little surprised that people weren't closer to their PR times. Him sharing that he has run more than years past, but that overall the race went smoothly. We have the top men in. There's Michael Arnhart just crossing the finish line. If you're just joining us, David Norris went 6'4", He is officially undefeated. In second place, runner-up, 45-year-old Max King of Bend, Oregon. Last year, he set a new age group record, and I'm going to kick it back to Andrew for another finish line interview.
Yeah, I've got Max King right here, second place last year. You're back, you're again. I mean, you were in the hunt this year, I feel like. How did it go for you out there?
Well, I was in the hunt for second place, right? I mean, it was awesome. It was so much fun to like race Luke this year. Everybody keeps getting like incrementally faster and stuff, and like they're going up the mountain faster. It was awesome to get to race Luke and have him in front of me to chase. David's up there. I know he's there. But man, he's so fast.
Isn't he though? And I understand you're coming back from a meniscus surgery. How did that play into your race today? Did you feel it at all, or was it a factor?
I think it was. Like, I've been training now for maybe 2 months after like a 5-6 week injury downtime, and so definitely don't feel the fittest. But I mean, I'm not going to use that as an excuse. Like, it was awesome. It was fun. The knee held up. It felt good. So like, training's been going well. So that was a good test, and I think I'm back. So.
Well, and even you're 20 years older than Luke Jagger, but you can hang with these young bucks, so congrats. I'm a dad myself. It's inspiring.
Yeah.
What brings you back every year to Seward, Alaska, to this race?
I mean, look around. It's like, it's amazing. The entire state feels like it's here, and that is like the quintessential like community race. That I love that feeling, and you get that very few places, but when you do get that, those are my favorite races because the entire community gets into it, and they're all here to support the race, the runners, the community, and that's amazing.
Well, on behalf of the community, we love having you as well. Congratulations on your second place finisher, the 2025 Mount Marathon, Max King.
Max King with some very gracious comments for the crowd, for Alaska, for the race that is Mount Marathon. I'm going to do a little review of the top 10 for this year's men's race. In 10th place from Palmer, Alaska, Kobe Marvin in his first senior race. As Andrew mentioned earlier, his mom, Christy Marvin, was second place runner-up this morning. In 9th place, Bodie Gross from South Lake Tahoe. 8th place, Jesse McGauley from Squamish, British Columbia. Jarrett Gillingham taking 7th. Baden Menton taking 6th. Ali Papillon in 5th. Lars Arneson in 4th place. And then the podium, Luke Jagger, going back and forth with Max King, but coming in 3rd place after showing good fitness and winning a bib for the race from the Bird Ridge race. I'm going to kick it back to Andrew, who has another finish line interview. Go for it, Andrew.
Yeah, speaking of the podium, I'm with 3rd place finisher now, rounding it out, Luke Jagger from Anchorage, Alaska. You're a 3-time junior winner. You're back in the seniors. How did it go for you today?
Yeah, it was really fun. I haven't done this race in a few years and didn't really know what to expect. Yeah, it was just kind of no pressure, really nice, kind of got in last minute, so decided just to go out and yeah, just do my best and have fun. It's such a fun race and, you know, so many awesome people. You can see everyone that you know and all your friends in one spot, so it's really awesome.
And it was great footage watching you and Max King going back and forth, lead changing here and there for 2nd place on the downhill. Walk us through that, what that was like. You're chasing down a guy who's 20 years your senior. So walk us through the downhill with that.
Yeah, he definitely wasn't running like he was 20 years my senior, that's for sure. But yeah, I've never really had someone to run with on the downhill, so it was really good just to have someone to follow in with and be like, okay, I think I can do this. And yeah, I was definitely hoping my mom wasn't watching on the live stream too closely, but yeah, it was really fun. The downhill was in really good shape, and he was just, yeah, too strong. And, you know, he's got crazy wheels, so once we hit the road, I kind of knew I was just holding on for the podium and tried not to look back.
Awesome. Any closing message for this crowd, this community, and this race?
Yeah, I love these people and this race and everything so much. And, you know, I grew up doing this race, and to get to come back after a few years break is really special, and the people that do it are just like the sweetest people in the world. So, yeah, it's fun to even just get to be here and get to be associated with these people.
Well, congratulations, Luke. A personal best, 3rd place here in Mount Marathon.
Yeah, thank you.
Kick it back to you, Holly.
Lots of very complimentary comments from Luke Jagger. He mentioned that he was trying to come into this race with no pressure. He earned a bib by winning the race up Bird Ridge just about a month ago. So maybe not a ton of time to train specifically for this race, but he definitely has experience here. So our 2025 men's Mount Marathon race proved to be everything and more. We have gotten some wonderful views. There's still lots of racers on the course. David Norris went 6 for 6. He did not break his own record, but his record is impressive nonetheless. Rounding out the podium, Max King of Bend, Oregon in 2nd, and Luke Jagger in 3rd place. Thank you so much to all the volunteers, the spectators, the racers, the organizing committee, the drone pilots, and everyone who will be picking up after the festivities. Thank you so much to Hillcorp for their sponsorship of the live stream, and congratulations, everyone. We will see you next year.
Yeah, good recap of the results there, Holly. David Norris, 6-time winner now, joining the likes of Brad Pekoski, Sven Johansson, and Ralph Hatch. That is an impressive feat. Maybe not the record-setting day that we all thought might occur, a little too hot and a little slow on the downhill, but nonetheless a victory for David Norris up here once again in Alaska to stake his claim as a legend of Mount Marathon. In second, Max King rounding out your podium, Luke Jaeger from Anchorage. Those two men are separated by 20 years of age, yet we're fighting all the way down the hill. What a great battle those two had. And yeah, just looking for all these warriors to come across the finish line now, every one of them fighting an inner demon, fighting their way to the top, and conquering not just the mountain, but a little piece of themselves.
Just a moment ago, I saw a shot of Fred Moore, a Seward local. It looks like he opted to not start the race, but before this, he had 54 consecutive finishes.
Amazing.
Which I cannot imagine. We should also mention that there is a golden race out here, and so it is for racers over a certain age where they go to the halfway point. We know that 89-year-old Chad Rosari was taking that race on, and he had many consecutive finishes as well. So incredible, just the longevity that some racers have taken into this race. Other fun stats, it's always fun to look at the downhill. Taylor Turney headlining the downhill, coming in with a blazing time of 10 minutes and 13 seconds, a bit off his own record of 9:54. In second place for the downhill, Ryan Cox coming in at 10:55, and in third place, Lion Kopsak of Palmer coming in at 11:06. And so to do well in this race, you have to have some wheels for the road, you have to have a big heart for the uphill, and you have to have some guts for the down.
That's absolutely right. You nailed that, Holly. It takes all kinds of aspects to be a good Mount Marathon racer. And yeah, we saw Lion Kopsak with the third fastest descent this year. He was the fastest last year. These times a little bit slower, and I think, as we alluded to earlier on the broadcast, it has a lot to do with the moisture content in that rock. As we see, looks like bib 88 with a nice strong surge to the finish.
88, Dylan Gillespie of Seward, Alaska.
All
so
right,
hometown there.
Seward native, awesome. That's great. Tongue out, these two are in a fight here.
There we go. On your right, that was Alex Alonso, who actually took the win in the Kenai 250, a 250-mile mountain bike race.
Oh, wow.
There we go in the forefront of our picture here. That's Matt Novakovic, who won the race in 2012. So still at it, racing with a big pack of competitors, including someone in long pants. And are they barefoot or flip-flops?
I think they're flip-flops. Can you imagine running this race in flip-flops? I don't think my podiatrist would recommend that.
Absolutely not. This race is probably one of the most technical courses out there, and to do it barefoot or in flip-flops is another level of insanity.
And he's going to break an hour in flip-flops, Holly. That's amazing. I love the camaraderie that this race brings out in folks. You know, no one's left the finish pen yet. They're all hugging, sweaty hugs, high fives, passing drinks around, spraying each other off with the hose. This is the beautiful time of this race when they can all kind of kick back a little bit, revel in what they just accomplished.
I love seeing, people just kind of honing in on the finish line. Every now and then we see people raising their arms saying, hey, come on, give me a little extra cheer. This was hard. But the spectators here are just world class, cheering for all the competitors. We've talked a lot about the race for the podium and the win, but as you've mentioned, Andrew, everyone here is fighting their own personal battle, and they have done really well to run up and down Mount Marathon.
They certainly have, Holly. And we're nearing the end of our live stream broadcast. If you're looking for a specific racer, please tune it over on the links to the Finish Line Cam. You'll be able to watch the Finish Line Cam going forward. But for Holly Brooks, I'm Andrew Kastening. Thanks for being with us on America's birthday. It's July 4th in Seward, Alaska. Hope you're out there celebrating a safe and fun 4th of July. And we will see you next year for the 98th running of Mount Marathon.